Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go! Welcome in. It's Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, coming to you live from the Lease Company studio here in Columbia. Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, coming to you with a lot of stuff on the docket. I mean, jam-packed show full of exciting sports talk. Great interviews coming your way. I'm sure of it. We've never been disappointed by any of the guys who are coming on the show today. So I certainly believe that we're going to continue that. And of course, it's Friday night, but it's also College Football Eve, and a lot of folks are pumped, and I know I'm among them. So let's tell you about today's show. Mo, we got some great guests today.
Looking forward to speaking with, as we do every Friday that the Sounds are on the road, the voice of the Nashville Sounds, Jeff Hem, will join us, bring us up to date on them. He will be coming in from Gwinnett, where the Sounds are continuing their series with the Stripers 1P. We'll also be visiting with friend of the show and Southern Middle Tennessee native, Greg SEITZ, the athletics director at Jacksonville State. Is that it? Stay cocky?
Stay cocky.
There we go.
Make sure you get the beak, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know, these days.
I'm not practiced on that,
Yeah.
so.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you make this more of a circle, it's a lot of, we'll get canceled again. So let's make sure we get the beak.
I wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I don't want to be associated.
Well, I mean, I'm not a newt either, so, don't want to be going in that direction either.
Yeah,
but-
exactly. You got to be careful.
Yeah, and then we conclude our college football, just in time, our
Just in
college
time.
football previews and our Southeastern Conference team-by-team previews by visiting with Dave Hooker from Off the Hook Sports. Talk a little University of Tennessee Volunteers.
Looking forward. This is going to be a good show. And at the end of the show, we're going to predict.
Some stuff.
We've got championships in conferences, our college football playoff, Final Four, and of course our championship game and champions. So should be a lot of fun. Make sure to stick around. Before we get into anything else, though, it's a zoo in the rundown today. We've got an anonymous giraffe and an anonymous rhino.
Makes sense.
So it's
A menagerie.
And recently, the Main Street Media just recorded a new episode of What's New at the Zoo with Jim Barr too. So super pumped about that. That's going to be coming out here soon. So, hey, we love the zoo around here. They got dragons.
They do have dragons.
We have a whole commercial that tells you about them. So, all right. Before we do anything else, though, let's get you yesterday's results, the weekend schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support youth sports across Middle Tennessee.
High school football action last night. Columbia Academy downs the Webb School 48-13, full coverage on mainstreetmurray.com. Shelbyville with a win over Marshall County 35-28. If you care to go listen to it, you can do so on demand at Main Street Media TV on our app. So make sure to check that out as well. Volleyball action. Oakland, 3-1 winners over Blackman. Spring Hill, 3-0 over Columbia. Grace Franklin, a 3-2 winner against Columbia Academy. Murfreesboro Central Magnet 3, Community 1. Friendship Christian blanks Davidson Academy 3-0. And Eagleville the same over Forest. Middle Tennessee Christian 3, Franklin Road Academy 0, while Gallatin blanked Mount Juliet. It was Harpeth, a 3-1 winner over Merrill Hyde, as well as Stewart's Creek 3-1 over Laverne. It was McGavick 3, John Overton 0, Providence Christian Webb School 0. Siegel, a 3-1 winner over Rockville. Loretto blanks Summertown. Wilson Central blanks Smyrna, and Zion Christian takes care of Dixon Academy in straight sets.
Girls soccer action from Thursday. It was Franklin Road Academy 6, Columbia Academy 0, Cookville 1, Lebanon 0. Station Camp and Christ Presbyterian Academy played to a 1-1 draw. Davidson Academy defeated St. Cecilia Academy 9-2. It was Donaldson Christian 9, Antioch 0. Ensworth with a 5-0 win over Grace Christian of Franklin. Fairview defeated Overton 8-3. It was Father Ryan in a thriller 1-0 over Brentwood. Friendship Christian 9, Ezel Harding 0. Hendersonville 2, Green Hill 0. Wilson Central 1, Laverne 0. Hume Fogg with a 2-1 victory over Merrill Hyde. University School of Nashville 8, Middle Tennessee Christian 0. Nashville Christian 6, Franklin Christian 0. Oakland with a 9-0 win over Riverdale. Portland edged Sycamore 3-2. It was Rockvale 2, Blackman 1. Siegel with a 1-0 win over Mount Juliet. Stewart's Creek defeated Smyrna 6-0. Spring Hill 4-0 over Lincoln County. STEM Academy 3, McGavick 1. Brentwood Academy with a 2-1 win over Summit. Columbia defeated Warren County 3-0. And Livingston Academy 9, Watertown 0.
Major League Baseball action yesterday. The Red Sox took care of business against the Astros 17-1. It was the Cubs 5, Pirates 4, Diamondbacks 3-2 winners over the Reds. And the Sounds in comeback fashion take the third straight game in the series with Gwinnett 3-2. It was WNBA play. The Liberty in Overtown take care of Connecticut 95-90. It was Indiana 90 and Seattle 86. The Las Vegas Aces are 94-87 winners over Chicago, while Minnesota downed Dallas 90-81.
High school football action tonight. These games are 7 o'clock kickoffs unless otherwise stated, like this first one. Prince Avenue Christian of Georgia plays Nashville Christian at 4 o'clock. No idea where that is, but
it's a doubleheader, and I think it's at DeSoto, maybe?
DeSoto, Mississippi.
But being Georgia, that doesn't make sense, so I'm not sure.
No. Okay. 7 o'clock. Nolensville's at Antioch. Joe Burns is at Ballard Memorial of Kentucky. Maplewood comes to Battleground Academy. Brentwood Academy is at Brentwood High School. Oakland making the long trip to the Hoosier State, taking on Center Grove of Indiana. Springfield is at Clarksville. Clay County hosting Westmoreland. Beach is at Collierville, speaking of long drives. Pearl Cone plays at Christ Presbyterian Academy. Houston County goes to East Robertson. Ensworth hosting Montgomery Bell Academy. Clarksville Academy is at Ezel Harding. Franklin High School hosts Franklin Road Academy. Pretty sure this is the first time they've played on the gridiron. Republic is at Glencliff at 7. Portland goes to Greenbrier. Hardin County hosting Giles County. Cheatham County is at Harpeth. Clarksville Northeast travels to Hendersonville. Long drive again. Riverdale going to Henry County as Will Kreisky heading back home, taking on the Patriots.
Good.
Yeah, not Matt, Will. Page is at Independence at 7. Hillsborough is at Overton. East Nashville is at Kenwood. Lewis County hosts Creekwood. And Davidson Academy is at Lincoln County.
Nashville Christian is playing at Finley Stadium.
In chat.
Okay. Also at 7 tonight, White's Creek is at Livingston Academy. Logan County, Kentucky hosting Rossview. Masters Academy of Florida welcoming Middle Tennessee Christian. That is a trip right there.
No doubt.
Hunter's Lane's at Mount Juliet. Father Ryan goes to Pope Prep, and Cannon County's at Providence Christian. Ravenwood plays host to Cane Ridge, while Richland's at home against Cascade. Saraland of Alabama will host Lipscomb Academy as they look to bounce back. And they'll have to do it against the 7A state champs. So good luck. Good Pastures at Silverdale Academy. Gallatin goes to Station Camp. Stratford's at home against McGavick. And Wayne County goes to Summertown. Summit takes on Centennial at Summit Stadium, or Spartan Stadium. James Lawson goes to Sycamore. Grace Franklin's at Trinity Christian. White House hosting Liberty Creek. White House Heritage hosting East Hickman. Friendship Christians at DCA at 7:30. The next few games are at 7:30. Green Hill hosting West Creek. Montgomery Central at Kirkwood. Loretto at home against Lawrence County. Mount Pleasant is at Spring Hill. And Wilson Central hosts Northwest. At 8 o'clock tonight, Columbia Central will be at Dixon County. Communities at Eagleville. Watertown's at Gordonsville. Lookout Valley takes on Mount Juliet Christian, while Laverne is at Siegel. Rockville's at Smyrna. Stewart's Creek hosts Blackman. Lebanon goes to Upperman, and Fairview is at Waverly. At 7 o'clock tonight in TSIAA 8-man football, it's South Haven Christian at Zion Christian.
That's the home opener for the Eagles, I do believe. Volleyball action today, 6 o'clock. Columbia Central goes to Page. Also in the Middle Tennessee Classic at Blackman. We don't have matchups, but we can tell you who's over there. It's Eagleville, Middle Tennessee Christian, Oakland, Riverdale, Blackman, Westmoreland, Ravenwood, Good Pasture, Siegel, Friendship Christian, Centennial, and Lebanon, all in the Middle Tennessee Classic at Blackman. And Stewart's Creek is participating in the River City Classic, which I believe is in Chattanooga, right?
It's the only River City I know.
Yeah, that's the only one I know, so we're gonna,
That's what I'm going with.
that's what we're gonna guess. Girls soccer action this evening, 5 o'clock, first touch for Clarksville Academy at Mount Juliet Christian. At 5:30, Springfield is at Cheatham County. At 6, Martin Luther King is at Hillsborough. In the Smoky Mountain Cup, up in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, East. 3:20, Zionsville, Indiana plays Murfreesboro Central. Also at 3:20, Greenbrier plays Sevier County, and Good Pasture plays University High. At 5:10, it's White House and Franklin County, and Page and Jefferson County. At 7, Giles County takes on William Blunt, and Dixon County faces Stone Memorial.
Tomorrow, Archbishop Altar of Ohio is at Innsworth at 4:30, and Oakland plays at Chattanooga Christian tomorrow at some point. Smoky Mountain Cup action, Giles County at 8 a.m. Breakfast with the Bobcats against Morristown East. I like that. Liberty Creek takes on Walker Valley, same time in Frederick Douglass, Kentucky takes on White House, also at 8 o'clock. At 8:50 a.m. it's Good Pasture, Anderson County, and at 11:40 it's Bethlehem, Kentucky, and Murfreesboro Central, as well as Zionsville, Indiana, and Page. At 1:30, St. Mary's Episcopal takes on Liberty Creek, while Giles County is taking on Loudon. And at 3:20, Good Pasture, DeKalb County, also Dixon County, and Oneida. At 5:20, it's St. George's versus White House. At 5 o'clock, I got these in a little messed up order. At 5 o'clock, Clarksville and Pope Prep. And then at 5:10, Jefferson County and Murfreesboro Central Magnet. At 7 tomorrow, Greenbrier takes on Cosby.
Major League Baseball action this weekend. The Braves open a 3-city, 10-game West Coast swing, kind of, sort of. playing at 9:15 tonight at San Francisco, following with a 3:05 start Saturday, and 6:10, that's an ESPN game, unfortunately, on Sunday night. Also this weekend, Houston goes to Detroit. The Nationals are at the Marlins. St. Louis is at Philadelphia. The Cubs are at the Pirates. San Diego goes to Milwaukee. The Reds are at the Diamondbacks. And as we mentioned, the Sounds continue their series at Gwinnett. NFL preseason action tonight. You're not going to see it because you're going to be at a high school football game. But the Patriots are at Nissan Stadium against the Titans. That game begins, I think it's actually a 7:15 kick. It's being televised starting at 7 o'clock, wherever you might want to look for that. College football, yay. UTEP at Jacksonville State. That's a 4:30 kick on CBS Sports Network. And at 6:30 on the SEC Network, Hawaii is at Vanderbilt. WNBA action tonight, 7 o'clock on Ion, is the Sparks at the Dream. Saturday, 6 o'clock on NBA TV, it's the Aces at the Mystics. And at 7 on Saturday, it's the Liberty at Minnesota against the Lynx. Soccer action, Saturday, 6:30. Nashville SC is at Atlanta. Is that Atlanta United?
I think they are Atlanta United.
I think they're United. Yeah, they're United.
They are 100%.
There you go. That's your rundown.
Top stories brought to you by our friends at Piggly Wiggly in Columbia here at Neely's Mill Shopping Center. Make sure to go see them for meat and 3 vegetables, fresh hand-cut meats on the daily, or you can always just get fresh produce. So all of that is available at Piggly Wiggly. We'll see you at the pig. Josh Dobbs and the 7th rounder headed to the Browns.
No.
Sorry, headed from the Browns
There we go.
to Arizona. Arizona sends Cleveland a 5th round pick in return. At what point is Josh Dobbs the starting quarterback?
I don't know. I mean, that's a heck of an admission for Arizona to make with all the money they've got in Kyler Murray if he's not the guy. I mean, you got to throw him out there and let him sink or swim. He's got to prove that he's not the starter, doesn't he?
I think at this point he's got farther to go to prove he
is than he's not.
based off of what we've seen to this point in his career. I think if
It may be a short leash,
it's a
but he's
while,
got to
yeah.
go out
Oh,
there and
it
not
won't be
the
week
guy.
1,
No.
but how long into the season is, do they give Dobbs a shot? Is he, I mean, you don't trade for a backup, in most cases. I mean, I do feel like Josh Dobbs is the most capable backup quarterback in the league.
In the league. And I would love to have seen him in two-tone blue right now.
Yeah, much more than the options we have, clearly. But I mean, honestly, that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like this is a situation where Josh is going to be he's obviously going to be the backup to start the season, but I don't know how much.
He may be closer to 1A than he is to 2, like you said. And trying to get the Cardinals' schedule up here real quick.
They probably they're playing a 3 or 4 schedule. I don't think they finished second in the division. So the Cardinals' schedule is probably.
They open at Washington, and then they've got the Giants at their place.
Okay, so both of those should be winnable games, one would think. But yeah, I mean, then you got the Cowboys, 49ers, and Bengals.
Yeah, and
That's
I'm not
a
sure.
stretch.
I'm not sure any of those. Now, the X factor though is who's quarterback in Cincinnati.
That's true. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how far along is Joe Burrow with that?
But at least they
string
have
calf?
wide receivers. I don't know if the Cardinals,
Have anybody to throw to?
yeah, I mean, they may kind of be,
Well, I mean, that doesn't necessarily, that's not an indictment on Kyler Murray.
right. I mean, is Kyler going to go, wait a minute, guys. I mean, you're mad at me, but
I can't throw it to myself. I'm not Marcus Mariota.
have you seen my wide receivers? Marquise Brown, Danielle Arias, and Caden Davis? Who?
That's Hollywood Brown, right?
Zach Pascal.
Oh,
Is-
well, never mind.
Zach Pascal, Rondale Moore, and Marquise Brown are their three starters.
Rondale Moore, the former Purdue guy, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean,
I guess,
it's a pretty nondescript wide receiver room.
do you know who the Cardinals' backup quarterback was?
According to this article, Clayton Tune.
According to azcardinals.com, it was Colt McCoy.
Okay, well, I'm looking at ESPN.com, and here we go. Dobbs eventually could push Colt McCoy 36
36.
for the starting job in Murray's absence.
And Jeff Driscoll's also there.
Murray's still recovering from a knee injury. Okay, so this is not a Kyler Murray situation. This is a Colt McCoy situation.
Certainly sounds like
36-year-old Colt McCoy
it's not.
situation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I can see that. That's
Makes
a little more believable.
makes some more sense.
Now,
But I'm not sure how much faith they have in Kyler Murray.
I don't think
either.
they have a lot of faith in Kyler Murray either way. So Josh Dobbs certainly gives them a chance, to be competitive in week one if Murray is not playing.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly don't feel like he's going to play regular season games to start the season. Otherwise, you don't trade for.
Yeah, you don't give up picks for a quarterback
Even if it's
that
a
you're
fifth
not
rounder.
that you're not expecting to be in the mix. Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's interesting. We'll keep an eye on Josh Dobbs.
Certainly.
We'll take a break. When we come back, Jeff Him standing by talking a little Nashville Sounds and Gwinnett Stripers. 1P.
1P.
Only one. Trust us. And
Contrary to those Vanderbilt law students that time we were there, yeah.
no doubt. So make sure to stick around as Jeff's standing by on the other side of the break on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are back to the Lee Company studio in a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in, folks. It is the Friday Forecast, your weekend update coming your way as we get ready to kick off college football season tomorrow, week 2 of high school football season tonight. But plenty of football to talk about. We'll get there. Right now,
Let's talk a little baseball.
let's talk a little baseball for the next couple of segments, and we'll start in Georgia, where Jeff Him is standing by in Gwinnett. Jeff, what's up, man?
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing well.
Not nearly as well as the Nashville Sounds are.
They are halfway through this 6-game series with Gwinnett. The Sounds are 3-0, getting them to 27-20 in the second half of the season. Still some work to do, I would imagine, because I know when we looked at the standings for the second half last week, Jeff, there were still a lot of folks between the Sounds and the top of the International League, but they're certainly plugging away.
Yeah, they've made some headway in that regard. Last weekend, at one point, they were 5 games back of a playoff spot, and I think in about 9th or 10th place. Now they are 2 games back, and they've got only 4 teams in front of them. One of those is the Durham Bulls that the Sounds took on last year in the league championship, and that is where they are headed next week after this week here in Gwinnett. So the second leg of this road trip, I think, is going to tell us a lot because after that, there will only be 18 games remaining overall. And if you're, 4 games back or 5 or something of that nature, in addition to trailing more than a team or 2, that's a pretty tough road to hoe. But right now, they're in the mix. They've taken advantage of playing some weaker teams the last couple of weeks, just to be blunt about it. I mean, where Indianapolis was, given some guys that have gone up to Pittsburgh and some injuries, that team was a little bit thin. Sounds took 4 out of 6. They won the series last week, 4 out of 6 against a Charlotte team that is headed for a 3rd straight year of the worst record in the league. And this Gwinnett team has some talent on it, as you guys know, following the Braves. But the Sounds really seem to match up well with these guys because now they've won 10 consecutive games head-to-head with Gwinnett, and they're 12-3 against the Stripers overall, including the 3 wins this week. So they've taken advantage of the opposition. They've gotten some big hits. They've gotten terrific pitching, which has pretty much been the case all year. And so they've rattled off 11 wins in their last 15 games. And look, there's a lot to play for at this time of year. Primarily for anybody at AAA, it's getting to the big leagues. And September 1 is coming up, and the rosters will expand by 2 spots, only 2. And then there'll be another month left of baseball where if you're not a September 1 call-up, you still could go up. And for the Sounds, they're being with Milwaukee, who's in first place in the NL Central. If that doesn't get you ready to play late in the year when you could get a big league shot with a potential division champ and playoff team, you're in the wrong line of work. So I think between the Sounds being hot, some players individually trying to get back to the big leagues, September 1 on the horizon, and where the Brewers are at in the standings, all of that adds up to a really fun time of year, in my opinion, from a lot of different angles.
You mentioned the Stripers have had their struggles, 55 and 66 on the year, 22 and 24 in the second half. The Sounds, 67 and 54 overall. And again, the Sounds have swept the first 3 games of this 6-game series. But the Stripers send Michael Soroka to the bump tonight, Alan Winans tomorrow, and former Tullahoma High School standout Justice Sheffield on Sunday. So not necessarily any gimmies out there against the Stripers the rest of the way.
No, and tonight is going to be really fun because the Sounds have Robert Gasser going, and he's been one of the best pitchers basically in the minor leagues for stretches this year, including lately. He's been appointment listening and viewing of late, and he'll go up against Soroka, like you mentioned. So that'll be fun tonight. Both of these teams have good starting pitching typically. And again, you can say this about the big leagues too. It's sometimes not just who you're playing, but when you play them. And right now, Atlanta's been in a spot this week where, as you guys well know, they gave a little bit of extra rest to some of their starters by calling up Winans on Monday and moving some guys back. And then they sent Winans back and they called up Jared Schuster. Well, that led Gwinnett to a bullpen game on Tuesday. Those are not always easy, and the Stripers got thin on the mound in that respect. Well, then a couple days ago, Gwinnett had to put the number 1 prospect, A.J. Smith-Shawver, on their injured list down here. That's what took Sunday into a TBD spot that is now being taken by Justice Sheffield. So, look, we always talk about depth, no matter the sport. And depth is not just having a lot of bodies, but it's having quality options when something happens. And generally, the Brewers and Braves are pretty good about not just stocking their AAA staffs with bodies, but having pretty good arms in the process. And so we'll see kind of what Gwinnett is made of to a degree, because they've had to shuffle some things around, which we've seen the Sounds do plenty of times this year. When the Brewers have had needs. That's what life is like at AAA. The Sounds right now are at a surplus of starting pitching because Colin Ray, who pitched last night and pitched well, is down here because the Brewers just recently, thankfully, got Brandon Woodruff back healthy. So the Sounds really have 7 guys right now for a 5-man rotation. Gwinnett is kind of in the opposite situation, just because Atlanta has been operating with a nice division lead, giving some guys extra rest. That has created their AAA movement and then tested Gwinnett. So a little bit different angle for both teams, but it amounts to testing your depth, and we'll see how it shakes out this weekend. But I'm really looking forward to Gasser against Soroka tonight. We've had 2 low-scoring games the last 2 nights. This is one where I'll predict something, and it'll be 11-10, the final tonight, because I'm going to try to predict it. But this feels like a 2-1 kind of game tonight with Gasser and Soroka.
Gasser coming in at 8-1 with a 3.81 ERA, as you said, one of the best pitchers in minor league baseball all year this year. And again, Michael Soroka, been up and back on a couple of occasions, but 4-3 with a 3.24 in his time in Gwinnett. So, yeah, it does kind of have that 2-1 type feel to it, or something along those lines. Certainly closer to that than 11-10, to be fair.
Yes, yeah.
And yet.
Yeah, baseball gone baseball, right?
Baseball.
Right, just when we think we've got it figured out, we'll be wrong, and that's what baseball does. That's why we love it, quite honestly.
Jeff, do you feel like the reason that Robert Gasser has stuck in Nashville all season is because the Brewers haven't necessarily just had to have him?
I think that's part of it. I think Robert's had good starts from the almost the jump this year. He was walking guys a little bit more than he and the Brewers would have liked early. But it's not like he had this 9 ERA early that he's had to overcome. He's been pretty good all year. He's been really good lately. But I think it's a combination of things. I mean, he just turned 24 at the end of May. I think there's a component sometimes in the game And I'm guilty of it too. I mean, the guys go up faster than I feel like they ever have in the game from the time they're drafted to getting into pro ball, whether that's Sal Frelick, who's already up there, drafted in 2021, Joey Weimer with the Brewers, drafted in 2020. Guys make a quick rise at times to the big leagues, more so than they ever have. So I think it's easy then to see a guy dominating in a particular level and just sort of presume that he'll go up right away. Colin Ray did a great job for the Brewers. I think that was part of it. Colin's an experienced arm. We've seen the Brewers have to go to a lot of rookies this year. All of them were deserving of the opportunity from what they were doing down here with the Sounds. But that's not typically the recipe for success for winning a division, to rely that much on young talent. I mean, the Reds have tried to do it. The Brewers are trying to do it. So I think when there have been other needs, there's a component of going to a little bit more of an experienced player. And I think Gasser has gotten a lot better this year, even though he was not, like I said, struggling mightily early in the year. He's gotten a lot better. I think he's matured in multiple ways. I think he would tell you that. The Sounds pitching coach, Jeremy Accardo, has talked about that. Not so much like making a particular pitch even better, but just some of what comes along with the AAA season when you've got to bounce back from a rougher outing and make the adjustment, or when the batters are starting to make the adjustment. I think he has gotten better with sequencing of pitching. I think he's gotten better at just handling mental challenges that come within an outing. He's had some games where, he doesn't get hit hard, but he's given up a lot of hits, some cheap hits. And how do you respond to that and bounce back from that? And that's all part of the development that I think is sometimes kind of hard to quantify, but I think it all adds up to a guy being quote unquote ready for the big leagues. And I think teams too, if you're going to call a guy up for an outing and send him right back, sometimes you're likelier to go to a little bit more of an experienced arm than one of the kids. 40-man roster components come into play on that. And so a lot of factors there, I think, of why Gasser hasn't been up yet. I think the Brewers know he's got big league stuff, but I think a lot of those different factors came into play at times. And honestly, once Woodruff went down in April and Colin Ray went up, the Brewers didn't have a lot of other needs for starting pitching. I mean, we saw Jansen Junk go up once in April in a stretch where they wanted a little bit of extra rest for starters. And then while Ray was up there, at one point we thought Colin was coming back, and then Wade Miley was out for a little bit, and so Ray went right back up. So while they've had a need for AAA in different ways, there hasn't been a ton of need for starting pitching because Colin has done so well when he's been up there, and that's allowed for guys like Gasser to just keep pitching every week down here and keep getting better without there being this critical, we've got to have somebody, let's go with Gasser. I think they've probably liked that they've been able to kind of leave Robert alone and just let him keep developing. I think that'll be a nice long-term benefit whenever he does get that first chance.
Jeff Ham, the voice of the Sounds, joining us here on Main Street Sports today as somebody keeps calling me that knows I'm on the radio.
Yeah, when you're a Hall of Famer, they just don't stop calling, do they, Mo?
Well, they just don't care, I guess. I don't know, but I'll deal with this later.
Chris and I don't have those kind of problems,
We really don't.
Nobody calls me.
Your friends are better trained than mine, clearly. I think you mentioned it just now, Jeff, but the guys that have gone up, and we've talked about this over the course of this summer, have really performed well when they have gone up. And I saw an article on MLB.com earlier this week, Jim Bowden, not the author, the ex-GM, talking about the one indispensable player on each team's roster right now. And when he mentioned the Brewers, he mentioned Sal Frelick.
Yep, I saw that too.
And, the fact that in such a short period of time, he has become such a critical part of what the Brewers are doing. One, I guess it speaks to what they expected from him from the moment they drafted him. But two, Again, to have that kind of impact so quickly, shocked?
I am not shocked. I am not shocked. I saw that same article. I was curious as I'm scrolling down who's he selecting for the Brewers, and I was not shocked to see that it was Sal, only because he does everything really well. He doesn't have this one amazing raw tool, and then it's kind of a project with the others. He's such a well-rounded player. He can help you win a game in so many different ways. And I know that's an easy kind of clutch phrase to just throw out there. But man, we saw it every day with the Sounds, and we've seen it since he's gone up with the Brewers. He's got the speed. He's got a really good arm. He's got more power than you might realize just by looking at him, because he's not a super big guy in terms of height. His defense has already won them some games with terrific plays, and that was from the jump in his debut, and it's continued on. He's also, against the. I wasn't going to say it. I knew you would know it, and I didn't want to pick that scab of yours, Mo. Your poor, struggling Atlanta Braves with the best NL record. Heaven forbid they let the Brewers have a night with Sal's debut. I mean, come on. But he's so good at putting the ball in play. And the Brewers' offense has needed that this year. They've largely won a lot of games with pitching, defense, some speed. And not necessarily just 10-0 kind of games all the time, because they just bludgeon you with so many homers. And so Frelick fits right into that. Like, he's a perfect guy to try to help with that style. So in that regard, I do think he's a critical piece for them, because he can make things happen at the top of your order. He's been middle of the order at times for the Brewers. And with all of his different tools being above average, he's a winner. He's a gamer. He's tough. All the fun phrases apply for Sal, because that's just, he's going to help you win a game in some way. Even if he goes 0 for 4, he's still going to help you win that game in some other way, at least one other way.
And he's got that offensive versatility, Jeff, like you said, that he can hit at the top or he can hit down in a run-producing position.
Yeah, contact matters. It's mattering even more as the rule changes take effect. And just put it in play. I mean, Bryce Terang the other day in the bottom of the 10th inning hit a big chopper to third, beat it out, and that was the game-winning hit. It was an infield single. Terang even got kind of a late break out of the box, and he still beat it out because he's just so fast. And that's a spot where it's like, hey, put it in play. Good things might happen. Frelick can be that same way. He can hit the ball a long way too. But against any type of pitcher with any type of velocity and movement, Frelick has the bat-to-ball skills to find a way to make something happen against any type of pitcher.
Jeff Him with us here on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. As you mentioned earlier, Jeff, a continuation of the road trip as Durham next on the list. And do you guys come home?
No,
Just
right to Durham.
Okay.
Yeah, right to Durham.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's like a 6-hour, I think, or so bus ride to
bad.
Durham. Yeah.
You'll take that even, but of course you'd much rather be home. I'm sure. That being said, don't return until the Redbirds come to First Horizon on September 5th, and that weekend series will be First Responders Weekend. So all of that, and of course, you can get your VOLS scarf for the first 1,000 fans on September 6th. So make plans, because clearly the soccer fandom in Nashville is steadily rising. So that's going to be a hot ticket item, I would think. So looking forward to that. But of course, got to get through these next two series or series and a half, and can't lose this one. So that's good.
No, playing with house money, at least a split on the road.
Take that just about every time. But we appreciate it, Jeff. Look forward to talking Sounds with you next week, I guess.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, National League MVP race heating up. It's interesting. The odds are slowly closing. So we'll talk about that, and of course the Braves weekend series ahead with San Francisco right after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Did you know that up to 80% of us will experience back or neck pain during our lifetime? Many of you are offered surgery or addictive pain pills to relieve your chronic pain. At the Dr. Gill's Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief, we have been leading the way to better health, naturally, and have helped tens of thousands of people right here in Middle Tennessee for the past 30 years.
I came to Dr. Gill about 10 years ago after my local doctors recommended surgery. I knew about Dr. Gill and wanted to see if he could help me. 10 years later, I am pain-free, no surgery, and no pain pills.
Surgery is scary, and over 40% of all back surgeries fail, creating a cycle of surgery and pills. There is a safer solution to your chronic pain. Make the call to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief today and get your life back. This office visit is normally $299, but call today and receive your initial consultation, report of finding for just $49. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call 615-768-8743. That's 615-768-8743.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
August 25th, 2013, former Forest Rocket and Vanderbilt Commodore pitching standout Mike Minor scattered 6 hits over 7 innings and allowed 1 run in claiming his 13th victory of the season as the Braves down host St. Louis 5-2. Andrelton Simmons hit a solo home run, and Jordan Schaefer had a double and a triple in the victory. That was this day in Braves history.
Gotta love a little Mike Minor Braves history.
Anytime we can get a little Mike Minor history in, it's a good thing. I imagine we got somebody paying attention over in Marshall County.
Oh, absolutely. They're certainly trying to get the taste of last night out of their mouths, I'm sure. So, yeah, well, not that particular brand.
Well, I mean, the Forest doesn't mind when Marshall County loses.
No, you're right. You're right. They're probably still celebrating. They may not be listening. You know, I was going to mention something when you said the Braves are playing the ESPN Sunday night game. And I was like, well, at least it's not a day game. The Atlanta Braves are 29-14 in day games this year. 29-14, best in the major leagues.
Well, I mean, again,
I would have never guessed that, ever.
No, you wouldn't have, because you've made a couple of allusions to that point here over the last little bit, and I hadn't said anything, but I saw a graphic. And I guess they've won again since then, because I saw a graphic that said they were 28-14 in day games. But I mean, you know, when you are what?
80 and
82 and 44.
Yeah.
When you are 82 and 44 on the year, you're
gonna-
pretty much winning at night, during the day, at 3 o'clock in the
Dusk,
morning.
dawn.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, so.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it
matter what
just
time we play.
doesn't matter, yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. But I just thought that was wild. Look, it's a convenient excuse when we lose day games. I can just be like, it's a day game.
It's
My excuse is
amazing,
gone.
though. It's amazing. Oh, have you looked at the standings today?
For
The NL East.
13 and a half games ahead of the Phillies, and oh, by the way, the New York Mets are in last place.
Are tied for last place with the Nationals. Who do they play tonight? Who do each of them play tonight? The Nationals play the Marlins. The Mets host the Angels without Shohei. I will be keeping an eye on those two scores. Not going to root for the Nats just because I can't. But I don't mind rooting for the Angels.
In case you care, the Florida Coast League Braves defeated the Florida Coast League Yankees 3-2 in Game 1 of the Florida Coast League Finals.
Dang.
Just throw that out there.
Okay.
Anytime you can beat the Yankees, I don't care,
It's a good
especially
thing.
if there's a trophy involved. That's all I'm saying. Big weekend for Atlanta, if for no other reason than, you know, you want to get this road trip off to a good start.
Yeah, I mean, again, for everything that we've said throughout this week about individual games not really mattering, we don't care, and that kind of thing, I think you still want to maintain that edge. And you've got a 3-game series at San Francisco. You follow that with 3 games at Colorado, and then you go back to the Dodgers for 4. So, I mean, you don't want to go out here and go 3-7 or some stuff like that. I mean, win the series against San Francisco and Colorado, split the series against the Dodgers, and I'll be in good shape.
Yeah, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, that's 2, 4, 6. And 6 and 4 on this road trip.
And you know what, 6 and 4, no matter how we get them. I say that. I don't know. I would hate to sweep the Giants and Rockies and then get swept by the Dodgers. That I would not like. One, because we're only 4 games up on them.
And 2, because you're going to see them again, you feel like.
Yeah, so
I'd really like to sweep Colorado, but in their park, they got a puncher's chance.
Sure. Well, anybody does. But if you're playing the Atlanta Braves in a park like, I don't know.
You're trying to keep the ball in the park.
Good luck. I don't know that playing the Braves.
Especially the way they're swinging it right now.
And they are hitting
1 through 9.
Absolutely. Everybody. I just,
including Ozuna from the Braves.
Ozuna is just ridiculous right now. So hopefully that continues. Of course, you always know that the West Coast takes a little time to get acclimated. So, Spencer Strider's going tonight. Should be a good,
Against Logan Webb.
Yeah, it's a tough one. This is going to be a tough game.
Now, the good thing is you just saw Logan Webb. They just saw Spencer Strider. Where's the advantage there?
I think the advantage is the travel, or the disadvantage is the travel.
The advantage is not traveling?
Yeah, the advantage is being at home. And I don't know which is worse, going east to west or west to east, but it's still a lot.
That's a good question. Because, you're
basically playing at 10 o'clock at night.
Exactly. This is a 9:15 start our time, which is 10:15 in Atlanta.
You're playing at 10 o'clock at night.
You're used to being done.
Yeah.
Way in advance of that.
And so
pitch clock.
I don't feel like that's a positive for the Braves. So.
Yeah, this one might be a tough one with all of that. But you've got Max Fried tomorrow and TBD for the Giants. And TBD times 2 on Sunday.
We'll throw whoever shows up, I guess. So I'll be curious to see if anybody makes Kyle Wright started again in Rome. So be interested to see who shows up Saturday and Sunday for the Braves, and because
Schuster's up.
Schuster is up, so it's probably going to be Schuster on Sunday, if I had to guess.
That's interesting.
Before we go to the top of the hour, and I'm not Jeff Bassan of ESPN has a tweet that I'm not sure. I'm not sure that the last sentence in said tweet makes a whole lot of sense, because I don't think there was at any point where Ronald Acuna Jr. was running away with the MVP.
But he's not
But
now.
he's certainly not now. Mookie Betts is certainly on his heels, if not potentially even ahead.
And I'll tell you what, in a similar fashion to Shohei Ohtani in the American League, doing it on offense and defense, Mookie Betts is doing what he's doing while playing 3 different positions for the Dodgers. Second, short, and right field. And I think that defensive versatility, while continuing to be as hot as anybody in the game at the plate these days, is going to draw some attention if it hasn't already.
Yeah, I don't think Freddie is even in the mix at this point.
I don't think Freddie's in the mix at this point, and I don't know.
I think it's a
I don't
two-man
know
race.
if Olson's in the race at this. Olson's kind of cooled off.
He cooled off a little bit, but I mean, and I'm not sure that he was really in the race, nationally speaking, at any point. He was kind of the 4th man, and the distance between 3 and 4 was about was pretty far.
I think Olson probably would have done Acuna more damage than anybody else. Either of the Dodgers or anybody else that might have been in the mix.
Mookie Betts, 34 homers, 89 RBIs, 105 runs scored, a 7 F WAR, which is Fangraphs, and I don't know what R WAR is, but he has a 6.9 R WAR. Ronald Acuna, 28 homers, 74 RBIs, which Ronnie's RBIs are throw them out.
Well, Ronnie's RBIs are gravy as a leadoff hitter.
Right. 113 runs scored, and he is on pace, by the way, to tie the Major League record for runs scored by a leadoff batter in Major League history, and that would be Ricky Henderson's 145. On pace to tie it. That's a record. And is hitting 339 still. I mean, that's up there. So do I think Mookie's in the race? Yes. Do I think Mookie's going to end up? I mean, he had a heater of an August, but the most consistent player in Major League Baseball this year has been Ronald Acuna Jr. And Ronnie just has to keep playing as he's played, and I think he ends up matching those numbers.
I think people at this point are kind of looking for reasons to not vote for Acuna.
Especially,
and I think,
especially if there's a Los Angeles possibility.
I was trying to figure out how many games Mookie has played at each position, and I don't know that that's readily accessible, unfortunately.
But 2 days ago, Ronald Acuna Jr. is still the betting favorite, and I think that matters. I think Vegas probably knows a little more than we do. Oh.
Well, Vegas is not in the habit of losing money.
No, they're not. So. All right, let's take a break. We are coming up on the top of the hour. Greg SEITZ, Jack State AD, awaiting on the other side of this break. So please stick around with us as we come back to the Lee Company studio on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
Let your child play like the pros this fall season and join Titans Flag Football in their NFL Flag Football League. Titans Flag Football is no contact, easy to learn, convenient with teams meeting once per week for practices and games on Sundays. And we cannot forget it's ridiculously fun. Teams are co-ed with ages from pre-K through 8th grade in select locations across Middle Tennessee. Visit TitansFlagFootball.com and sign up before registration closes on September 4th. Let's play together and win together this fall season with Titans Flag Football.
Y'all, I'm serious right now. They have a dragon here. I saw it. But no, they don't. There's no such thing as dragons. I swear, I saw it. It had huge claws. Get out of here. It had eyes as big as the moon. Come on, I'll show you. Wait up. Do you hear that? We're almost there. Whoa! I told you so. That is a dragon.
Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao coming to you here alongside my partner Maurice Patton and Mo. College football is just around the corner, and the rest of the way to the end of the show, it's college football all the time.
Just around the corner, literally. We got games tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
It's crazy.
And one of those teams playing tomorrow is, of course, the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. And Rich Rodriguez bringing his Gamecocks to the FBS level for the first time. And, of course, one of the major reasons for that is the fantastic leadership from Athletics Director Greg SEITZ, who now joins us. The pride of Wayne County, folks. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. Good to see you guys.
It's good to see you, Greg.
Mr. National TV, by the way, gets all the TV time.
He finds more cameras, man. It's so, but it's so cool though when you're watching,
you're like,
the NCAA baseball tournament or whatever, and the camera finds Greg, and it's like, I know that dude. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm concerned though, Greg. You've got a ball game in about 24 hours. Is there something we're keeping you from?
I know. I was wondering about an hour ago why I agreed to do this interview today. I was thinking, I said, man, we got a Hall of Fame banquet tonight, but you know what? When I get to talk to two of my fellow Tennessee buddies, I'll take time to make room for both of you, and especially my Jack State guy over there with Chris. He's got to get some more Gamecock gear on that. Seth.
We got a helmet for now. It's old though. Well, I got to get a new one.
Hey, if you send it, we'll put it up.
I was planning to go tomorrow, but my kids are sick, and I'm not leaving them with Sarah sick by herself.
That's probably a good move.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I will not be at the game tomorrow, but I am looking forward to watching it on CBS Sports Network. And man, what a crazy ride it's been to the FBS level, but you're here now, you're in it, and apparently, I've not seen anything official still, but in it for the long haul in Conference USA.
We hope so. I mean, that was, part of the reason we ended up making the move. Opportunity about a year and a half ago. Once we got that call to join Conference, it's going to be great just to have the opportunity to, to reconnect and play Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, and some of those old rivals. When you look at our football schedule from 30 to 40 years ago, those were regulars on that schedule. So now just have the opportunity to be in the FBS with them, and certainly in Conference USA, it should be exciting.
Greg, for as long as you've been at Jacksonville State, first as sports information director, and did you ever think that there would be a time where this university, this athletic program would be where it is?
I started on June the 1st of 1993, Mo, and as the assistant sports information director, and we were just leaving Division II and just coming off the national championship in football, and I knew there'd be some growing pains from that aspect of it. And we did. I mean, we had some pretty lean years there, our first few years in FCS. I mean, it's a different level. And, I think, and hopefully we learned some stuff from that transition that we're able to do so we can kind of avoid some of those as we transition to FBS. I did have the opportunity to speak with some of the folks that have made that move in the last 8 or 10 years, including App State, Georgia Southern, and say, okay, hey, if you had it to do over again, what would you do different, to hopefully help you get there sooner? When you look at the records, the average wins of teams in the second year of the transition, first year in the league, is only 2 wins. And so I know if we only have 2 wins this year, our fans are not going to be very happy. So we look to see how we could maybe, improve that. And, if we can get more wins under our belts that first year, it'll just help us down the road from that aspect of it. So one of the things we did, Mo, is we went ahead last year and we upped our scholarships. So we went from 63 to 75 scholarships. And now this year we're at 85. So we feel like that by giving us those extra scholarships sooner and earlier, that it will help us this year and beyond.
A lot of talk around Middle Tennessee, particularly about the eyesores of construction during football season. I don't know if you've seen Vanderbilt's plight, but a lot of folks in Nashville are taking some shots at Vanderbilt for improving themselves.
No. A lot of people are taking some shots, period. It ain't just here.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But, Jacksonville State undergoing similar situation with the end zone renovation. So, obviously it's important to have FBS level facilities when you move to this level. So, what's it been like trying to get things going in that renovation, and obviously having to play through some construction? There's going to be some unique parts of the game day experience this year for fans.
It is. And for us, the biggest challenge is going to be the parking issue right on our campus. That's going to be the
problem.
That's going to be the biggest challenge, because we've taken 2 of our pretty large parking lots offline, but we feel like we've come up with some auxiliary parking. We're running some additional game day shuttles, to help with that. And so we feel like that, things are going to be better. I think, we timed our construction so that it would be ready for the summer of 2024. So that's kind of how we got to where we are in our construction process. We're going from a 19,000 square foot football field house to a 51,000 square foot field house. So I think it'll be good for our fans as they're coming in this year. They'll actually see that building progress as we go through the season. So they'll be able to actually see, what we're doing. It's not impacting our seating area and our seating bowl in the stadium. And we are adding almost 17 additional sky boxes and premium seating, which will get us up to a little over 51. And as I sit in this athletic director's chair now, the revenue from that's, very important to us as we're making this move up.
Can you not just run a shuttle from Cooter Browns?
I think it'd probably only run one way, Mo. I think most of the folks would go to Cougars, and I'm not sure they would. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I could get them back. We might have to, start that there. But it's so funny you say that. And I mentioned it earlier. We're having our Hall of Fame banquet tonight, and I know that Mark Wiedmeyer is a good friend of yours, a fellow Hall of Famer in the Tennessee Sports Writers Hall of Fame, and so he does all my Hall of Fame drawings. A lot of people didn't know he's artistic, but man, he is incredible. But Mo, you'll love this. The only thing he wanted was a slab of ribs from Cooter Brown's to do those drawings. So
smart man. I think he undersold himself. He probably should have got 2. But yeah, he's disgustingly talented, man, and I've told him that actually to be able to write as well as he does and do that, and it's fantastic stuff. I'd be interested to see what he comes up with for you guys. But yeah, that was a great call on your part, and again, I think he's a bargain at twice the price. So yeah, you did well. Very, very fiscally conscious on your part, Athletics Director Greg SEITZ.
Yeah, I'm trying to sign him to a 5-year contract because I want to get that down. I think I've got the upper hand with those ribs because I know you've had them before, and I know Chris was a regular there when he was in school for sure.
Absolutely. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, we're going to have to stop inducting people into the Hall of Fame that I went to school with. When I saw two folks, I was like, I'm pretty sure that I went to school with those two, and that's not good. We got a problem here.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying.
All I'll say, Mo, is our criteria: you got to be out of school for at least 10 years.
Jeez.
And I won't go any further than that. But
well, I'm just glad that he's feeling a little uncomfortable about this kind of thing, because this is the guy that likes to tell people that I've been writing longer than he's been alive, which it's not wrong, but still, it's still a little uncomfortable to hear it put that way. So it's nice when he's on the receiving end of
my
that.
back's starting to hurt, get a little tight.
And no sympathy here. Greg, earlier this week, we talked about the grant of rights, and just from a financial standpoint, from a stability standpoint, particularly with everything that you all have going on down there with the growth, how big a deal is that, knowing that you're going to be getting that type of money coming into the program, and just that you don't have to worry a whole lot about the shifting landscape for the next little bit?
And you touched on it just there at the end. The revenue is certainly, it's going to be very, very beneficial. And obviously with us coming from the FCS level, our previous television packages in the Ohio Valley Conference and the ASUN, was nothing with what we've got. But I think the stability is first on it. But also I think you have to give a lot of credit to all of our coaches in Conference USA by saying, hey, you know what, we're going to think outside the box. That month of October, we're going to play the midweek games. And when you look at it and think about and consider how much exposure each of us are going to receive over that entire month of October. I know our first one, we come up to Middle Tennessee, October the 3rd. But when you think every sports bar in the country, not just in the Southeast, but every sports bar in the country is going to have on that Middle Tennessee Jacksonville State game. There's 2 CUSA games on Tuesday night, 2 CUSA games on Wednesday night every month throughout that whole month of October. And when you take that into consideration, we all know what a crazy football state Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, the whole Southeast is. And so those numbers are really going to help. And Rich Rod, if you think about it, back in the early 2000s, he was really the first guy to start that. He did that Thursday night game at West Virginia. They are the ones that they did that a long time. And he says when they started playing on that midweek game, their enrollment for their school, it really skyrocketed and stuff. So not only was this an athletic decision, but you have to give credit to the presidents of all the Conference USA schools by allowing us to do that. Because I think they see the potential of, hey, you know what? We're all looking to help drive enrollment, and we think this is a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, we spoke with Rick Stockstill, and he obviously expressed some concerns for potential safety issues. But the way that Jack State's schedule works out, doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot. They're play Middle Tennessee on a Wednesday, then you play Liberty on a Tuesday. A couple of weeks that are a little short, but I mean, nothing different than playing. It's just one extra day instead of having to go, every 7 days. It's just 6. That being said, got to go to South Carolina this year, and you get a little extra time to prepare for that one. I just want to know if there's a trophy for the official Gamecock in college football being put together. We need to have one, so that
or if there's a loser
leave town,
loser change your nickname or something like that. Yeah, what's on the line in this Gamecocks versus Gamecocks?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. For that, when you think about across college football, there's only 3 schools that have the Gamecock or whatever. You've got the Chanticleers, right, from Coastal. Mm-hmm. Well, they're on our schedule this year. Then you've got South Carolina. So we've decided this year it's the battle of the birds, right, for that. So it's going to be interesting. And I know our fans are obviously very excited. South Carolina is one of the few SEC teams that we have not had the opportunity to play yet, and I'm still trying to get on that Tennessee schedule. We're working on it to see if we get the opportunity. I will tell you though, scheduling has become so much easier now that we're an FBS member than when it was from an FCS standpoint, because now and y'all both know it, we've had a lot of luck when we've as an FCS school going in. Most recently our Florida State win a couple of years ago from that aspect, and then the obviously the 2010 was our first one with Ole Miss in double overtime. Should have beat Auburn in overtime. That's one that's, I think, when you look back across our 130 plus years of football, that one's the one that really stings the most. Auburn,
yes, it does.
Preseason ranked number 5 in the country, but that's the tough one, I think, when you're talking to Gamecock fans.
At least we got their running back. We stole their running back. We said, clearly we are the better program here, Rock. Please come home, and he did. So at least we got that out.
We did. He helped us knock out some wins down the road stuff. But I'll tell you, Mo, that's the first time that I think both fan bases left the stadium disappointed. I think Auburn realized they were not the number 5 team in the country. And then Jacksonville State fans felt like we should have won the game that year. So
I was actually watching the end of that game. I can't remember what game I was covering that day, but yeah, I was disappointed too for that same reason. But Greg, as athletics director, what hand did you have in getting Zion Webb a 7th year?
Well, I tell you what, I signed off on the waivers pretty much all that I could do. But I tell you, I told him, I said, it's funny, he's almost as old as a couple of our assistant coaches that we've got on staff. And so, I mean, when you talk about you want a veteran on your team, I'm not sure that Coach talks about it. It's funny, we've got another kid that's got this will be his 6th year. And I said, between those 2 kids, they're going to have 14 years. I told Zion at practice the other day, I said, Zion, man, 3 more years and you'll be vested in the Alabama retirement system.
There you go.
So we'll have to see if we can find him a GA's job or something after this so we can help him out on his retirement.
There you go.
Kid's going to be a big big part of this program and as starting quarterback, and looking forward to seeing what he can do. And of course, a lot of local flavor on the roster as well. Again, Conference USA play starts tomorrow. They kick it off, UTEP Hall of Fame weekend, CBS Sports Network. That is a 4:30 kickoff. Make sure to tune in. Then it's East Tennessee State at Jacksonville. Then they go to Coastal before coming back in for homecoming and Eastern Michigan. Then Conference USA play again gets into the swing of things in late September all the way through October. And trip to New Mexico State. Football won't be such an issue, but has getting volleyball out there been an issue?
No, it's really not, and that's a great question. Because people talk about, gosh, you're spread out all across the country. And I said, yeah, but we only go there every other year, right? So they'll be coming to us on that aspect of it, and it certainly is costing us more money to be at the FBS level. But as you guys touched on earlier, I mean, we're receiving so much more money, and it will be interesting to see once this playoff expansion happens and once the new television deal is signed and what that money ends up being for us. The NCAA, because of the men's basketball tournament, 97% of the NCAA is funded through the men's basketball tournament, right? That's 365 Division I schools, but that's also that men's basketball tournament funds Division II and Division III. And so that money is split really among the 365 Division I basketball schools, right? And then among the other schools. But when you think about what the FBS money, we are FBS school number 133, but think about what that TV contract is going to look like, right? So currently, every FBS school, you get $1 million from the CFP for being a member of that. And that's under the current television deal. So we know the revenue is certainly going to go up once the new television contract. Now, you can be rest assured that, Commissioner Sankey and the big boys are going to continue to get their cut. But with so much money involved, it is still going to trickle down, to Conference USA. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens now with the Pac. I'm not sure if it's the Pac-4, the Pac-10, the Pac-12.
We just call them the X, Pac-X.
The X. So, I think they may, depending on who they get in, I think it's going to be difficult for them to maintain their autonomy status. So there may be a group of 6 of us now, and then you got the 4 larger conferences there. So we know there'll be some shifting. I think the Commissioner Sankey, is what I've read earlier, is going to have some discussions when the CFP meets, in the coming days to talk about how that new expanded playoff field is going to work now, because if they're not going to want to give up an AQ to a conference they don't feel like is deserving of it. And so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But, I say all that to say there's we think there's more revenue coming down when that new contract is signed.
Well, looking forward to it because, again, I'm excited about seeing Jacksonville State in the state of Tennessee here soon. Looking forward to being at that game, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And Jacksonville State being at the highest level of football is massive for fans and for, of course, the university, which is what Greg SEITZ is most concerned with. Not my happiness, but it sometimes coincides, and I appreciate that. Greg, we appreciate you taking time with us to go induct some Hall of Famers, even if they did go to play while I was in school.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm anxious to see both you guys coming up that first week of October, and I want to see where y'all going to sit at during that game, and if you're going to be close to each other. And
we may very well not be close to each other. Actually,
we'll start at Inside Murphy Center with this show, and after that, we'll have to go our separate ways.
We'll not be riding over together for sure.
Because riding back.
Yeah, kind of like the Cooter Brown thing. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, you know what I could do? I could bring a slab of ribs from Jacksonville, and the winner gets to take the slab of ribs.
Oh man,
that may be something as we look down through this, Mo and Chris, and we can see. I know there'd be some bragging rights on the line for that for sure.
Without question.
No doubt. Greg, thanks, man. We appreciate you taking time, and know you're busy, so we're going to let you go.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too, Greg.
We'll have a good weekend, or I will if Jack State gets the win. That's what I'm looking for. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, scheduled to have Dave Hooker joining us, so stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We will conclude college football previews with the VOLS right after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in. Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yalmo Patton, and we are coming up on the conclusion of 2023's college football previews here on Main Street Sports today, and we get a chance to finish it out with the Vols. Big Orange, because you know why? Because it's football time in Tennessee. Super excited to bring in from Off the Hook Sports, Dave Hooker, on the road, but can still hear us, I hope.
I can, yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good.
I've got an appointment in Knoxville for a party that I don't want to go to, and that's the send my son off to college party. So, so I'm feeling pretty old this weekend. It's a good thing the football is going to be a distraction here in the next couple of days.
Okay, so tell me something, Dave. Where do you operate from?
I operate from my home studio for the most part. I've got a studio in Knoxville too, so I kind of go back and forth. The plan all along was I lived in Chattanooga for about 5 years, but the plan all along was to move back. So we're in the process of that. So I'm sure the University of Tennessee will love seeing my smiling face around. I have such a fantastic history with their sports information department.
Don't we all? We'll leave that.
We're just going to leave that one alone, Dave. It's in everybody's best interest to do so coming out of SEC MD 23. Dave, as we sit here a week ahead of that Virginia game that we didn't get credentialed for, what are your thoughts about this UT team a week out?
Well, I mean, the biggest news is they're going to have to deal with their.
Oh no. No, we lost you audio-wise. It may be best for us to call you while you're on the road if you've got the ability to do that. Justin, if you'll just give him a call, that may be the better play.
Timing is everything.
It is. It is. And of course, Tennessee's got a lot to play for. in 2023, and that's not something that they've, including last year, had expectations.
And that's a new experience in this regime
For
to
a
have
lot
some
of Tennessee fans.
Well, for this coaching staff, for these players, I think expectations are something that they've not had to deal with.
That's that too.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how they are handling that. Dave, are you back? Let's see. There he is. Dave's back.
Can you hear us,
again.
Dave?
I don't think
he can hear us.
Yeah, let's just give him a phone call, and that'll be okay. But yeah, you're right. Expectations weren't high last year. You exceeded those expectations.
Right.
Now you've got to meet them.
Right. Because again, as former Arkansas basketball coach Nolan Richardson was so fond of saying, when you create the monster, then you got to feed it. And there is no monster like a UT football fan base, I don't think. And again, once you've exceeded expectations and you've reset the standard, and this is a bunch that's been hungry for success for a long time.
Yeah, for those of, for anyone who is a millennial, you've been hungering for it because you remember it. Anybody younger than that,
they don't realize, they don't know.
They don't know. and last year was a shock to the system, I'm sure, for a lot of folks, including me. I didn't expect Tennessee to be even remotely in the running for a New Year's Six Bowl. But now that they've gotten there, to me it feels like a New Year's Six Bowl is the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the expectation. Again, that's where they're supposed to be every year. And for folks that have followed UT football for a long period of time, that was the expectation.
Yeah. And anything less was not there. So Dave is back, and Dave, we're just talking about the expectations of this season and how obviously they exceeded those. They've now created the beast. Can they continue to feed it?
Well, my prediction is that for the season, so I guess I would say they can. Will they? Is another question entirely. I've got Tennessee losing to Alabama and Georgia, but still managing to slip into the college football playoff because of the quirkiness that is the college football playoff, and because I think Alabama is going to lose a couple of games. I'm not completely sold on LSU yet. So that's where I have Tennessee this year. So I guess I'm saying they'll live up to it, but they won't beat Alabama. So maybe I'm straddling the fence a little bit. But really, I think a lot's going to come down to, in the immediate future, Cooper Mays. He's not going to be available, I don't believe, for the Virginia game. There'd be no reason to play him for Austin Peay. Is he ready for Florida? If you'd asked me earlier this week, I would have thought yes. Now I'm not sure. I do a weekly podcast with Cooper on Sunday, and I respect the policy of Josh Heupel only allowing injury news to come through him, so I don't go down that road. But and so I won't specifically ask him when he'll be back. I think that would be unfair. In this NIL world, Maurice, you can speak to this. Everything's a little goofy and different. But I do think that they've got to prove that they can go out and function at a high level without him. With tempo, I don't think that's an issue. Are they as physical? Probably not. You've got a senior in Ollie Lane that I believe is going to step in. And I think Addison Nichols, not to ramble on about the center position, is a talented player that needs a nasty streak. So if you would have asked me before the season started who was the most important player, considering their potential backups, I would have told you Cooper Mays. And sure enough, right after I wrote that, it was announced by Josh Heupel that he would be out for a couple of weeks, and that was 2 weeks ago yesterday, and he's still not back.
Well, and I think that's kind of where this program is. They finally been able to get some quality depth at some positions of need. And I think, that just goes to prove what this coaching staff has been able to do from, the time they stepped on campus.
Yeah, and I think there's probably quality depth at most every position. Now I think about it, except for center. Now, that's not to say Ollie Lane can't handle it. It's not to say Addison Nichols won't up and get mean and nasty. But, again, that was the one position I thought they could at least afford to lose a player. And Cooper Mays, who's also a leader. And, I think that's the biggest question mark. But to answer your overall question, I think Tennessee will remain incredibly relevant in college football playoff talk. And I think that matching what they did last year just in and of itself of 10 wins would be significant. If they can do that, it's a sign that the program's going in the right direction, because they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year after what they did last year.
Dave Hooker from Off the Hook Sports joining us at the Dave Hooker on Twitter.
Well, and I just want to say I'm not one of those guys. It was the Dave Hooker show, and I tried to change it, and then there was another Dave Hooker. So if I had my druthers, it would be at Dave Hooker, not at the Dave Hooker. Just don't want you to think I'm one of those guys.
That's okay. At least it's just your Twitter account and not your entire website like theronhiggins.com. So, but
I say kudos to Ron on that, and I just wish there were more characters on a car license plate.
Dave, obviously the Joe Milton saga has been told time and time and time again, but the thought of him going through a 12-game season as a starting quarterback, how comfortable are we with that?
Scale of 1 to 10, let's say an 8. I think Tennessee's an 8, comfortable with Joe Milton. I know he's had some issues in the past, but I think too much has been put on him, just like I think too much was put on Hendon Hooker. When you see a throw go wide, go errant, go long, we automatically say, hey, it's got to be the quarterback's fault. Well, that's not the case. And Maurice, you probably remember this too. There were times where Danny Werfel or Shane Matthews and those guys threw passes that were just way off. Well, a lot of times, at least half the time, I think, the reason is the quarterback and the receiver aren't making the same reads on the safety. So you've got a receiver running one way and a quarterback throwing another. As far as ball placement, I think that Joe Milton could go out there and throw it through a tire, like the old Dan Marino commercials. But is he on the same page as his receivers? I would hope so at this point. If he's not, then there's a bigger problem, and then you probably turn to Nico Iamaleava. But I don't think that's going to be the case this year if I had a bet. But, obviously Josh Heupel is very high on Nico, and if there's, after that Florida game, if something went awry, would he be afraid to make a change? Maybe not, but I think that he's pretty cemented in the position right now. And people I've talked to behind the scenes, off the record, to get a little bit of intel, a little bit of info, all say that he has had an incredible offseason from a leadership standpoint, a practice standpoint, and nobody has said, man, I don't know about Joe, even in private conversations. I can tell you 100% that none of those conversations have happened.
That's big news.
It is. It's good to know.
Here's the thing. This is the stat to remember. Under Josh Heupel, if Tennessee rushes for 155 yards, they are 15-2.
155.
155. So 154, probably going to lose.
156? You're in good shape.
You're in good shape.
Okay.
So don't take a knee at the end of the game. Now, with that, who is the running back on this team that gets them the bulk of the carries, or is it running back by committee?
It's running back by committee. somewhat like it was last year. But Jalen Wright may end up being more of a featured back than Jabari Small, who kind of started the season last year as the starter. And it doesn't really matter, as you guys know, who starts the game. It's who's in there in the fourth quarter. But Jalen Wright, I think, will carry more of the load than he carried last year, and he carried a lot of it. And then the guy that I was told way back in spring camp that has just had an incredible offseason is Dylan Sampson. So Dylan Sampson will probably have the most, let's say, 20-plus yard gains at the end of the year. Will have the highest yards per carry as he did last year. Jalen Wright, though, I credit him a lot. He relied, as we see high school players do, on his quickness and bouncing and outside. Well, he's taking on tacklers a little bit more, I'm told, in the scrimmages, and then that makes it more difficult to bring him down no matter what he does in the future. So I think he's, as a runner, more gifted than Jabari Small, and now that he's not bouncing it outside more often, they're very optimistic about what he can do. Now, he could easily fall back into that trap of bouncing it outside because I've usually been the guy on the field. But aside from that, I think you'll see a slight changing of the guard, whereas he'll get more carries than Jabari Small. But I do think it's a running back by committee.
Well, we all know the big question is not on offense.
No, it's
That
not.
being said, the safeties in this defensive backfield, Jalen McCullough, Tamarion McDonald, probably two of the best players on the team. Do they have help on the corners?
That's a great question. And if you ask people that cover the program, they'll say, I like this guy, I like that guy. I mean, I think Danico Slaughter is kind of my guy that I think will take that next step, is based off what I've been told and just based off his twitch that I saw glimpses of last year towards the end of the season. Matter of fact, I kind of wonder why he didn't play more towards the beginning of the season. And then, when I look at another player that I think will have a big impact would be Gabe Judy-Lawley. Of course, he transferred in, and I really like him because I think he's very versatile. So if one of these guys falter at safety or cornerback or get hurt, I think he's a plug-and-play guy. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him start the season. Do they have a lockdown corner that's going to go in the first round of the NFL draft? Absolutely not. But goodness gracious, I think they'll make some improvements. And I'll say this, I think their linebackers will be better in the second level of pass coverage as well. I think they were really lost at times last year.
It seemed like you got better linebacker play toward the end of the year, and particularly in the Clemson game, that kind of, from underclassmen, that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable about that position going into this year. And like you said, Danico Slaughter seemed like he showed up a lot more late in the year. So maybe they have started to clean up some things and firm up some things on the back end, and it's much needed.
Yeah, and Beasley had a great Orange Bowl, and I think he was playing a little outside, a little out of position earlier in the year. And now with Keenan Pilley, the BYU transfer, who has been everything advertised, and that's a solid middle linebacker, I believe you'll see Beasley freed up a little bit more to make plays. Jimmy Himes, who I know you know, Maurice, and does some work for us with Off the Hook Sports, and we're really excited to have him on board this year, is really high on Beasley and the potential he could have. So, he's one of those probably 5 players you would look to and say this guy could take a major step and be a better player than he was last year. And he wasn't bad last year, but I don't think we would call him anywhere close to all SEC or a superstar.
CollegeFootballNews.com ranks him number 1 among Tennessee Volunteers' 10 best players. So
Aaron Beasley?
Yes. At
Well,
least someone out there believes that he has the capability to be as good as you say. But has he proven it to this point? I don't know.
Well, where's Brew McCoy on that list? Do you have that list handy?
Brew McCoy would be number 6.
I mean, Brew McCoy is the best overall player on the team. Yeah, I think that'll prove to be the case. I would be stunned if Aaron Beasley goes to the NFL draft higher than Brew McCoy. I don't know who wrote that, and I'm not trying to take a shot at anybody, but
sure. I just thought it was interesting that you say that as I'm looking at the 10 best players on the team, and he's sitting at the top. I'm like, what? With somebody, clearly, if I'm going to take Tennessee insider knowledge from one of these two, it's not going to be
the
college
guy.
football.
It's going to be the guy in the car over there. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I actually tried not to act surprised, but while you've got me on, can I hear the top 5?
Well, you will be interested to hear because, yes, Aaron Beasley, Jalen McCullough, Joe Milton, Tamarion McDonald, and Javonte Spraggins, followed by McCoy, Keenan Pili, Ramel Keaton, Roman Harrison, and Jalen Wright.
Jalen Wright at 10?
Yeah, maybe that's, you guys know the NFL better than I do. Maybe that's devaluing the running back position a little bit because it is devalued. That would not be my list.
Well, I just thought that was an interesting top 10 there, but
I mean, I do like all of those guys. I think all those guys could take steps this year. It just would not be the order necessarily.
Sure. Obviously, we talked about Virginia. Open the season September 2nd. This schedule, you go to Alabama, but you get Georgia at home. You have to go to Kentucky right after Alabama, which could be an issue. It's just a tough stretch right there with A&M, Alabama, and Kentucky. But
I think you nailed that on Kentucky. I mean, I think if there's an upset that's just lying there, glaring, it is Kentucky, because especially since I think Alabama is going to kind of go back to ball control, be really physical. Typically teams don't play well after they play Alabama, but especially when they were more of a pro-style ball control style. I think that one leaps off the schedule as potential upset.
But the trip to Florida has not been successful in recent memory, and heck, not even recent memory. In memory in general for most of us who can't remember pre-2000. Right. Is this team capable of going into the swamp and winning?
Yes. If this was, let's say, one of those Florida teams in the 90s, maybe not. But I think Florida's down. And, let me take that back. I think Tennessee's capable of going into any stadium and beating any opponent. I mean, I think when you talk about a top 10, 15, 20 team, and they're at least that they're capable. But the fact that Florida is down as well, but goodness gracious, I feel like when I said that, I thought to myself, Florida's down a little bit. Tennessee may beat them. It seems like we've had that discussion about a gajillion times, but you certainly would think with Graham Mertz and a quarterback and Billy Napier still trying to put things together. I know he's trying to build for the future, and I hear detail-oriented and all that stuff, but he's not innovative. I don't think Florida's going to beat a lot of teams they shouldn't. Now, could he be Nick Saban in 3 years? Who knows? But is he going to beat somebody that he shouldn't with his coaching style? Not very often, I don't think.
Dave, we're looking forward to another exciting year of Tennessee football. I know you are as well, and we appreciate you taking some time with us today. We look forward to talking with you again throughout the season.
Yeah, next time you guys have me on, I'll give you my word that I will be in my studio connected for 2 reasons. And one is because I hate having connection issues because I love what you guys are doing. And 2, this angle makes me look really fat.
You got to get
I mean, I'm coming from the gym. I've worked hard to lose weight. I mean, I don't want to look fat. Now, when I was fat, I was okay looking fat, but I don't want to look fat if I'm not fat. I'm just mildly overweight.
I understand that completely. It's just,
We get it. We get it, and we appreciate you, however you look, coming on the show with us.
Well, and forgive me for eye contact, because when I look at you guys, I see my fat face.
Hey, listen, man, don't look at the title card of today's show. I forgot to shrink your face to match everyone else's, so you just got a big old head on the. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, are we talking about that picture that's up there now?
Yes.
No,
yeah.
well,
that was.
So,
yeah, that was when I had red hair. So that picture. Yeah, that was taken in 2009. It was an Knoxville News Sentinel.
Well, it's just a massive head based on everyone.
We may have
else's.
to get you to send us a picture then for future reference.
That
yeah.
may be the play.
Yeah.
No,
Dave,
and yeah, great guys. And if you guys would like to talk about a book that might be coming out, talking about the '98 season, let me know.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Thanks, Dave.
See you guys.
Oh man, Mo,
Chris?
it's time to make some predictions.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Because I'm so good at it.
I'm with you, man. I am not looking forward to it, but
we said we would.
We said we would, and we should. Mm-hmm. So let's start with our conference, Conference USA. This one right here. Let's see here. Obviously, everyone thinks that Western or Liberty is going to run away with this thing. What do you think?
I don't think they're going to run away with it. I would pick them to play for the championship, and I'd pick them to play for the championship as much because that allows me to be happy if my Blue Raiders pull off the upset and somehow get there, rather than putting them there and being really pissed off if they don't.
You know, setting expectations, right? You got to set the expectations where you need them to be. You know, as a fan,
undersell and overdeliver.
That's the key. Right?
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Liberty and Western at the top. And you know I'm not going to pick Western to win it.
So
I guess it's the Flames with Jamie Chadwell.
See, and I think that's the thing. That's where I think that Liberty wins it, is because they got a great coach who is going to.
To be fair, I think Tyson Hilton has done a great job at Western.
Sure.
And he's got an offense that kids want to play in, particularly a quarterback, and he's been able to get some good ones in there. I just can't pick them.
Hugh Freeze did not leave that cupboard bare. Jamie Chadwell's got some dogs to work with, so I'm going to go with the Flames as well. All right, ACC. I don't think they have divisions this year, so who's going to win it? We ain't worried about who's going to play for. Who's going to win it?
For me, it's a very similar situation to what I just discussed regarding Coosa, no hyphen, and Western Kentucky. I can't pick Clemson under any circumstance, so I guess it's Florida State.
Well, I wasn't going to pick Clemson anyway because it is Florida State. Yeah. And boy, Mike Norvell.
Wow. And for a guy who
would have thought that 2 years ago?
Yeah, they were ready to run him out of Tallahassee on a rail, even last year, I think. But I think it's Florida State, and heck, if it's not Florida State, it might be North Carolina.
I think North Carolina's up there. I would agree with you. I don't think it's going to be Clemson. I don't think that the quarterback play is quite there yet. Big, which one? Which one do we got? Big 10 or 12?
Let's go 10.
Numerical order.
Yeah.
Big 10. Here's what I'm thinking in Big 10. Michigan is the odds-on favorite.
I don't think Michigan will handle the expectations very well.
I'm going to go out of the box. Give me Penn State.
You know what? I had Penn State, Ohio State, and didn't really know. James Franklin's got to do something to that level pretty soon, or
one would think.
Speaking of running him out of town on a rail, you know.
Yeah,
and you know, SC is no longer a soft landing spot for him, so he's going to have to get it done there, and then maybe this is it.
Penn State plays Illinois.
Ooh.
Yeah. Burt, baby.
Burt ball. Okay.
Big 12.
I can't buy into Texas.
It's hard. It's
You know,
hard.
I
How many times have you been burned by Texas?
specifically, I can't buy into Quinn Ewers.
Okay. Well, they got plenty of quarterbacks, though.
But are they going to play
Are they
plenty of
willing to play
quarterbacks?
those quarterbacks? I agree.
Yeah, I'm more into K-State.
Ooh.
I think Kleeman's done a really good job.
I think so too. I can't go with them again. I know they won it last year. Here's the problem: is that the Big 12 doesn't have a whole lot of great teams in it, and it's hard to buy into Texas.
And here's the thing: it doesn't have a whole lot of great teams in it, and I don't know that Texas or Oklahoma are particularly great.
I think Texas is going to beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and I think Texas is going to win the Big 12.
Good Lord!
Watch it. Just be careful. Pac-12. I am going to go Oregon.
Who's in it?
Well,
it's everybody this year. Yeah.
It's bow time for me. Give me the Ducks.
Oh, good
Quack,
Lord.
quack.
I'm having a tough time picking against the reigning Heisman Trophy winner.
Well,
I'm going SC.
I'm picking the future Heisman.
The future.
Trophy.
Oh, okay.
That's my choice. I think Bo Nix is going to have a great year. I really do.
I'm going USC.
SEC. We've picked this already, not on the air, but with the Southeastern Conference Media Day preseason poll. I have Alabama and Tennessee playing for the SEC title, and I have Tennessee winning it, and that's going to break my heart if they don't.
I don't remember what I picked in the preseason poll, to be honest, but I'm going to go status quo. I'm going to go Alabama, Georgia.
It's hard not to.
And I don't have your vision for Texas, Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So, and Andy Staples tweeted something really interesting 2 or 3 days ago. He said he's never seen Nick Saban this calm before. Something's coming. I'm going with Alabama.
You know what? If they can figure out their quarterback situation, sure. But
they may not have to.
I don't know. They just put their fourth guy back in the running.
They may just need a quarterback that doesn't lose the game.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
How does that play with you mentally? That's the question. I don't know.
Yeah.
College football Final Four. Does the SEC get 2 teams in?
Yes.
No. They can't in my scenario.
Okay.
Because Tennessee, unless it's Georgia, unless it's Tennessee, Georgia. I don't think the SEC gets 2 teams in. I think it's going to be Oregon, Penn State, Tennessee, and Texas. No. Florida State, not Texas. Give me those 4.
I think it's Florida State, Penn State, Alabama, Georgia.
Okay. My national championship feels like 98. Tennessee, Florida State. 25 years in the making.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Wow, that would be fun. That would be fun. Florida State hopes their starting quarterback can play this time around.
And why not? Give me the Vols. I don't think Tennessee goes undefeated, though.
You know what?
I think they lose at Alabama, but they beat them in the SEC championship game.
I think I don't have anything to base it on, and I could be way out of left field and I could be way wrong, but I think Georgia 3-peats.
I hope. I would love to see it. If it's
Just
not
to see
Tennessee,
it.
I would love to see it. But
Mhm.
that's it. That's the only
Yeah.
reason. So there you go. Those are the predictions. We've looked ahead. We'll see you guys on Monday at 2 o'clock here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bar and Joint. We'll be back to the Lee Company studio then. We'll hope to see you there.